So what am I supposed to do? What's my part? My part is just to take the belt. When I want the same truth that saved me to keep me, I take up the belt of truth. That when he comes in and we let him surround our life, we can have the most emaciated, falling apart, decrepit body, but the power of God, their eyes are so reflective of the joy and hope and peace of Christ. It's amazing. When I choose to wrap Christ around my life, I'm wearing the belt of truth. And when I do that, Jesus, the truth, holds my life together. He makes me wise. He makes me confident. He makes me secure and bold. And I'm full of joy. Because Jesus, the righteous, covers my life. That's what the breastplate of righteousness is. It's not me manufacturing something. It's me living out on the outside what's on the inside. How did I get on the inside Jesus? Well, the greatest verse in the Bible, I have a lot of favorites, but do you know what the greatest one is? It's this one. This is the essence of salvation in one little verse. For he, that's God the Father, made him, that's God the Son, who is holy, harmless, and undefiled, as Hebrews says, who knew no sin, to be sin for us. What does that mean? That's what justification is about. Do you remember the guy that stood up there? Dave Scott led him to the Lord, one of the street people, and I baptized him. And he got up there and he said, I heard the gospel. And the gospel was that Jesus was, God treated Jesus like he was a womanizer, just like me, and like a boozer. That's what he called himself, a boozing womanizer. And he said, and people were a little taken back, but he really understood that God the Father punished Jesus Christ by making him the target for God's wrath, as if Jesus committed every sin that I've ever committed, past, today's, and the rest of my life. And the interesting testimony, street person. And you, if you're saved. God has treated Jesus on the cross like he committed every sin that you and I have ever committed. He punished him with an eternity of suffering for those sins. But that's only half the gospel. See, the gospel of justification is that God made Christ, who knew no sin, to become sin for us, but it doesn't end there. There's a second half. There is the imputing to us of something else right here, that we, the ones that have been justified freely by his grace through the redemption in Christ Jesus, might become his righteousness. Have you ever wondered why Jesus had to be here all those years that aren't in the Bible? I mean, if I was writing it, I would have him, Christmas, born with the angels, but have him born full grown, as a man, and the next day crucify him, and the next day rise, and it would have been all over. What are those 30 years we don't know anything about for? Other than Jesus showing up briefly to be dedicated to temple at 8 days, and then, and circumcised, and then to be, going at age 12. But there's nothing else about him for 30 years. What's going on? Well, the Bible, Jesus explains it. When he was baptized, John the Baptist kind of asked the same thing. He says, what's up? And he said, I have to fulfill all righteousness. Jesus lived the only perfect life ever lived. And God credits to me the perfect life of Christ. It was imputed to their account as a part of Christ becoming sin so we could become his righteousness. Then I would say, how you doing at living this new life? Your new identity. How are you doing at taking up your body armor? What is the body armor? What does it mean to be clothed with the breastplate of righteousness? Well, it means that when I want his righteousness that saved me to keep me, I take up the breastplate of righteousness. When I choose to wrap him around my life so that it's no longer I, but Christ living in me, like Paul put it. That's what he was talking about. He said, it's not me that struggles through life. It's Christ in me that gives me the strength. I can do all things through Christ who surrounds me, that strengthens me. When I choose to wrap him around my life, I'm wearing the breastplate of righteousness. And when I do that, Jesus, the righteous one, covers my life. And tell people there is nothing that Jesus can't forgive. There's no life that he can't hold together by his truth. There's no life that he can't make a saint. Is your life held together by the truth of Christ? Are you covered with Christ? I haven't said anything about have you been baptized or walked the aisle or raise your hand. Has Christ placed in you a love of the truth? Do you know that you're a temple of the Spirit of truth? Have you been liberated by the truth? If you know the truth will set you free, Jesus said. See, that's how we maintain this new life, by letting Christ hold us together with his truth and cover us with his righteousness. That's how you maintain that extreme makeover and keep radiating Christ.